These guys, they wanted somebody very good, and first they only wanted a consultant for this Keventers.
And someone to kind of come up with some,
What to do, because they had done something in
some flavors, right?
Yeah,
Because you had been in the restaurant industry.
Right. They had done something which did not click, basically, because this was done in a location which was not the best location.
Pitampura, right?
Yeah, you seem to know everything, but yeah, right. So that was not the best location, and obviously at that point of time, it was a little different. So basically, they needed a consultant who could help them with that. And then I wasn't very sure initially about this project, primarily because, I'd never done a QSR. So you can't blame me for that, because I don't know what a QSR business is. I've always done restaurants. So that's how. But I did see a potential, and I thought that the kids at that point, the kids were wonderful. They were.
How old were they at that time?
They were just in their 20s. So I thought that they had great vision. And I said, listen, I've not been able to scale up the way I wanted to. And everybody tells me scale. So here's an opportunity. Okay. So earlier I only consulted. Then I went with Agastya once, and then I told him, listen, there are a lot of things which are incorrect. For example, I thought that the milkshake was very cheap. It was being sold at 50 rupees. Packaging was not okay. There were many things. And that's when we discussed.
What about the recipes? Where did the recipes come from? Whose recipe was it?
Very interesting, because a lot of these recipes came from the old world tradition. All the classics primarily came from the old world factories. And now the most difficult part was when we tried to reach out to factory workers and people who were the supervisors. Unfortunately, 90% of them had passed away. Right? It's that old, because remember, they would be working in factories when they would be in the 30s, 40s, and we're asking them after maybe 50 years or 60 years. So it was very difficult, by the way, getting the recipes. But it's so interesting because we found something from somewhere which was handwritten. Okay. And then there were no proper SOPs like you have today. And it was just unbelievable. And sometimes it was just passed on from a worker to a worker, right? Or from a father to a son who went there. So it's very interesting. So a lot of the classics and a lot of the classic recipes came from there. And then, of course, yeah, we all worked. I also come from an F&B background. I've run bars in my life, yeah. So I've been a mixologist. I've always had that interest. So we used to just experiment and work on a lot. And then we also had the ability to reach out to some of the best people in the industry, primarily because of our restaurant background previously. To reach out to some of the better mixologists, to reach out to certain people who are in the world of ice creams. Because milkshake, there was nobody. Milkshake was it's just like in some corner of the menu, you'll find milkshake, right? It's never like the primary item.
It's usually at the end. Yeah.
Usually at the end. That also you can't find. It's the same flavors, right? There's 2-3 flavors.
Vanilla, chocolate.
It's not easy. But that's what I'm saying. So we actually created that. Let's talk about the brand a little. It was started by Mr. Edward Keventer, somebody who had come down from Sweden. India did not have a dairy technology at that time. So he was especially called by the government and he set it up. And from there, it's history. Keventers did really well. And Keventers was into everything. Cheese, anything to do with dairy. Cassata, in fact. Keventers was the first company in India to create cassata ice cream, by the way. So there were many things that happened. And the Dalmia family bought the brand out in the 1940s. Okay.
Ramkrishna.
Yes, he is
Dalmia.
He's a legendary man. So he bought the brand. And from there, they ran it till the 1960s. And like I said, this person was one of the distributors, and there were several other distributors. And we, for a minute, don't have any malice or we don't have anything against the people, because when we ourselves have not done anything about the brand, it doesn't matter. And the fact is that, yes, they kept the brand alive. They ran it and they ran it well. And we are super proud of that. But the thing is, in that avatar, we couldn't have expanded. It's that's being run in a very traditional old world sort of way. You can't now, like how we are now today present in 81 cities in India. We're in Dubai, we're in Nairobi, we're in Oman, Abu Dhabi. You couldn't have taken the brand in that particular way. So we did meet him and we explained things to him, blah, blah, blah. Then of course, whatever happened. But and the trademark was always ours. That's the story when we decide we'll expand. Now, we were all not very sure how do we expand it, because we needed much more capital than what three of us could actually put on the table.
And I think even you, in your experience, when it came to expansion, like you had done limited expansion, like
Yes.
to Goa or to
Absolutely.
one or two other cities, but never something pan-India.
Yeah. So the idea, of course, was not immediately go to pan-India. I created a plan. We met his dad, went through everything. And then finally, I said, listen, there's a lot of potential. I think that we can really make a mark. And if I can put in the same effort that I've put into restaurants, I think this is a good story. And that's how, then I said, okay, Agastya, I'll also come in as a partner. Okay. And let's do this. Yeah. So we all put in money, and the three of us, and we decided to grow the brand. And the first few that we did the one at Select City. We changed the location. We said, let's go to a better location so that people know us more.
And by the way, that was the first time that I ever tried Keventers, was at Select City Walk in 2017. I had no idea that was your first location, but I just saw this brand and I thought, oh, this looks kind of cool. And back in Canada, where I'm from, everybody was going crazy about mason jars. So like these glass jars that you could like...
We had mason jars in Taboola. So.
Yeah. It was such a cool concept and sort of vintage and retro, but I'd never seen it done in India. And so when I saw this brand, I thought the name was a little weird. You know, Keventers. Like, what is this even? Is there a guy named Kevin somewhere that set this up? Is it a foreigner? I couldn't really figure it out. But yeah, the milkshakes were good. And I guess sort of that was the first location. Was the plan, because I know you talked about franchising later on, but was the original plan to sort of let all these locations be company owned? You set up in Select City Walk, and then the next location was where?
No, the plan wasn't there like that. Look, first of all, there are certain reasons why we thought of franchising. I'll be very honest. I said, listen, guys, it's a great idea to franchise, primarily because when you go to different cities, you don't know the culture.